Ladies and gentlemen, this is All Elite Wrestling 2020. We're going to be booking the Fyter Fest pay-per-view here today. Let's have a little recap of what we've been doing as of late. Our go-home show, we had Brian Cage beat Broken Matt Hardy in the main event for 64 rated. And we closed it all out with Moxley and Cage with a big brawl with the roster coming out to try and break things up. Other matches on the show, FTR beat the Super Bad Death Squad in 65 rated match. Nyla Rose beat Shannon for 45. Butcher and Blade beat the Gun Club for 33. Lance Archer beat Brent Tate in a squash match for 51. 6-woman tag was the 39 rated. And the best match in the show was Adam Page and Kenny Omega beating the Natural Nightmares for 75. Overall, a 66 rated show, 864,000 viewers. And the last dark we had as well featured Best Friends defeating Private Party, Ali beating Emi Sakura, Hybrid 2 got a win over Janela and Kiss, and Chris Statlander beat Anna Jay. Our storylines at the moment, we're looking at doing Bea Priestley versus Chris Statlander, probably on the pre-show of Fyter. Best Friends versus Omega and Page for the tag belts. Jericho and Orange Cassidy. We're going to do Cody and Jake Hager. Colt Cabana versus Brody Lee. I think we're going to try and squeeze that in on the show after Brody Lee's been trying to recruit Colt Cabana for weeks, and now basically Cabana's had enough and Brody Lee wants to teach him the ways of the Dark Order. FTR versus the Butcher and the Blade. We'll probably have the Young Bucks ringside for it. MJF versus Christopher Daniels. Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage, which probably will be our main event, which I don't think it's going to be the best match in the card, but it's the world title match, so we've got to make it the main event. And Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida. So lots of matches very similar to what they're going to do in the real life version of Fyter Fest, which is what we were going for. We wanted to keep it close to what they were going to do in the real, and with a few different things sprinkled in from ourselves. And after Fyter Fest, we're going to really kind of focus in on our own storylines, our own ideas, and go from there. Certainly for Fight for the Fall, and then obviously for All Out. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at the moment. Our storylines aren't, doing all that well, but I feel like out of all these, I really believe Jericho and Orange Cassidy could have the match of the night. That's kind of what I'm predicting. If not, it could even be Cody versus Jake Hager. So I'm not confident in the Moxley and Cage match, but it's the world title match, and we've got to be. We spoke about bringing in some women last stream. We're going to look to bring back Priscilla Kelly. So we're going to sign her. Obviously, Darby Allin's wife, I believe. So she's got some decent stats. Nothing too special, but good star quality. Selling's pretty good, basics is good, so she probably will be able to produce a fairly passable match, which is better than what we can say for some of our women in the roster right now, so that will hopefully boost us a little bit. And then we did manage to find a version of Abaddon. We don't have a photo for her yet, but I'm going to bring her in on a long-term deal. We might have to edit her stats because I feel like they're a little bit too good for what she actually is. So we might play around with that, but we will at least have her in the game in our roster. So that's a plus. All right, so let's go ahead and fast forward to Fyter Fest. Backstage incidents, Daniels and Austin Gunn. Well, I'm really liking the fact that Daniels is going to be helping Austin Gunn because he's passing on tips for psychology to Austin, so Austin Gunn in a few months' time could realistically be pretty good, which would be fantastic if possible. We are booking AEW Fyter Fest. It is in the cards. It's booked. We don't have a world title match thanks to Jon Moxley working Japan, so it's all not quite going to plan, but we've got a backup plan, so let's get into it. Our first match will be Jurassic Express versus Super Bad Death Squad. And it gets a 56 rated match, which is better than I expected. Not too bad. Jungle Boy 56, Luchasaurus 56. Jimmy Havoc was actually pretty good, 52. Kip Sabian 43 was the weak link. Wouldn't expect that. This is on a pre-show. As well as the pre-show, we've got Shawn Spears versus Peter Avalon. That's up next. That's all pretty good. So not a bad match, that one. Shawn Spears versus Peter Avalon gets a 24. Nobody really wants to see Peter Avalon. Don't blame him. Shawn Spears 42, Peter Avalon 29, and Spears won in about 5 minutes. So a quick dominant win for Shawn Spears. This one should be good. The Natural Nightmares versus the Dark Order. We haven't seen the Dark Order actually have a match yet, so I'm intrigued to see how they perform. We know the Natural Nightmares are pretty good. Dustin Rhodes obviously carrying the team. So, I'm hoping around high 50s, maybe low 60s for this one. I was wrong. 45! QT Marshall 42, Dustin Rhodes 50, Stu Grayson 47, Evil Uno 47. I mean, there was no storyline involved. That could have helped. Could not have. That obviously would have helped. But Dark Order's not bad. 47 and 47. I don't think they have a lot of pops, so that's probably good signs for them nonetheless. We did give the Dark Order the win over the Nightmares with Evil Uno pinning QT Marshall, and I did set to have Dustin Rhodes remain strong, so that probably brought the match rating down because of that. Now it's time to have our first match on the pay-per-view. It's going to be Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus Best Friends for the World Tag Team titles. This should be good. I'm kind of hoping and praying this one's good. So, can we get into the 60s, maybe even 70? Let's have a look. 77! Yes! Yes, that's good. That is so good. Okay. Omega 86, Page 78, Chuck Taylor 55, Trent 53. Yes, sir. That's a good one. That is a very good one. So Page and Omega have great chemistry. So does Trent and Chuck Taylor have a tag team bonus. Kenny Omega was brilliant, 86. So he was the star of this match. And we had Page and Omega beat Taylor and Trent. So 77, that is a great way to start the show. Thank goodness. I have a feeling this is going to be the match of the night, which is kind of sad that Best Friends is our best hope for match of the night, but it very well could be. Next up is MJF versus Christopher Daniels. Before we get there, we had an MJF promo for 58. MJF did not do well without a script. Wow. Who would have thought MJF could do a script? Not me, that's for sure. So maybe in the future we have MJF scripted. I don't think he'll like that, but... Alright, MJF versus Chris Daniels. Both guys... Well, MJF's got a bit of pop. Daniels has 45 or so. So I feel like this could be maybe 60. Let's have a look. 69. Wow. Wow, okay. That is a much better match than I expected. 69. MJF wins after Wardlow interfered. MJF 66, which is great signs for him that he definitely could be main event material for us. Christopher Daniels 59, which is great for the veteran. Great results for the veteran. And they have great chemistry. Well, there you go. I didn't expect that either. So they have great chemistry, which is probably why the match was so good in the end. Well, there you go. Great chemistry between Daniels and MJF. Awesome. Brody Lee versus Colt Cabana is up next, which the storyline is obviously Colt Cabana has been trying to be recruited by the Dark Order. Colt Cabana's resisting, so Brody Lee wants to teach him a lesson and teach him the ways of the Dark Order personally. Let's see how he does. 63. Wow. Okay, this is going pretty well. Brody Lee 59, Colt Cabana 52. So I mentioned when we were booking Fyter Fest that I'm really not that impressed by Brody Lee so far in AEW. For me, this whole Exalted one isn't really doing it for me. So I need to see results out of Brody Lee ASAP before I'm willing to really push him all the way. He performed at 59, which I don't think is that much beyond his popularity, maybe a few points. So it's okay signs, but also not that amazing. So we'll have to wait and see how he does in some other matches. But, so far, it's pretty average, I would say. Colt Cabana 52 is pretty good, I think, for his pop. So 63 match, I'll take that. And here's where it goes downhill. Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida. No, I actually have some confidence in this one. I think the women will get us maybe a 45 to a 50 rated match. I'm hoping that these two, this is our best two women, so hopefully they can produce something good. So let's take a look. Shida versus Rose. Wow, 57. Well, there you go. That is a good freaking match for the women. Nyla Rose 51, Shida 55. I'm sorry, I doubted these two. I severely doubted these two. 57 rated. Very good match, considering where they're both at. They both have 30, 40 pop, if that. That's really good. Shida wins. She wins with a roll-up, so we wanted to protect Nyla Rose a little bit there, make sure that she didn't suffer another clean, decisive loss. Wanted to make sure Shida just gets a quick one, gets out of there, and we can move on from this story. Next up will be Lance Archer versus Pineapple Pete. Before we get there, we actually had Ali come out and attack Hikaru Shida. So laid her out to set up Ali versus Shida going forward. So we're looking to use Ali a little bit more in the ring. And Ali's probably the best out of the bunch for a women's title match. I think at the moment we're going to have Ali and Shida for Fight for the Fallen, and then Britt Baker should be back in time to have Shida versus Baker for All Out. So that's probably the plans there. Alright, and then we had so that was 36, that segment. Jake Roberts promo hyping up Lance Archer for 63. Pretty good. Lance Archer and Jake worked pretty well together. Jake Roberts improvised pretty well, so he went off the script quite nicely. 63 hopefully will help Lance Archer gain a little bit of pop maybe. And now he's going to have a tough match. Pineapple Pete, this should be a really tough one for him. Archer versus Pineapple Pete. 54. So Lance Archer performed at 64, Pineapple Pete 34. Honestly, I don't even know how Pineapple Pete performed at 10, because he only had a minute and 30 seconds to get his shit in, and I don't think he would have got much offense in a minute and 39 seconds. So Lance Archer making quick work of poor Pineapple Pete. But hey, at least he got to be on the card. That's something. 54 rated. Not too bad. Our next match will be FTR versus the Butcher and the Blade. Now, we are pushing FTR heavily. They're going to be probably our future tag team champions. Very excited to have them on the roster. But I want to see a little bit more out of the Butcher and Blade. So let's have a look how the Butcher and Blade do. They didn't do that great against the Young Bucks. So let's have a look. 62. Okay. So, Cash Wheeler 63, Dax Harwood 65, Blade 41, Butcher, it was the real letdown with just a 29. Now, we did try for a wild brawl, which could have been the reason why this match was held down a little bit, because unfortunately we have to do one wild brawl every show, and I figured, you know what, if anyone could do it, it's probably going to be FTR, and the Butcher and Blade have some decent brawl stats as well, so I thought maybe there's a chance there, but I suppose it didn't quite hit the mark. But, you know, that's okay. A 62 rated match is probably around about where I was expecting for this combination anyway, so happy days. Next, we'll have Bea Priestley versus Chris Statlander. Before we get there, the Young Bucks, after the FTR match, came out and basically taunted FTR, basically saying, you guys are meant to be the best tag team in the world, and that's what you produce. That's all you could do. We're not that impressed. We know we can beat you guys. We know we're better than you, blah, blah, blah. So a 60 rated segment for that one to get the Young Bucks on the card and continue to build towards FTR versus the Young Bucks. I think the way that I'm heading with this storyline is we're going to have, FTR and the Young Bucks trying to outdo each other every week. They're trying to prove who's the better tag team without them actually facing each other. That way we can drag it out to All Out and have the big match there. But, week after week, we're going to have the Young Bucks watching the FTR matches, and they're going to, not be impressed by what FTR does, and then vice versa. So that's probably what we're going to do there with them. All right, Bea Priestley versus Chris Statlander. 42. Not bad, okay. The crowd still don't want to see Bea Priestley. They still don't care about her at all, which is a real shame because I feel like she's got some potential for us. But it is what it is. Chris Statlander 42, Bea Priestley 30. Not a lot we can do there, I suppose. If they don't want to see her, they don't want to see her. But You know, a 42 rated match is not bad, but you know. Okay, now we're gonna have the debut of Ricky Starks. So this is gonna be a good opportunity for Ricky Starks to get himself involved, get him on the card. We figured we need him to have an impressive opponent because we're gonna try and steal the show with this match, which was always gonna be a risk. I don't know if it's gonna work, but Ricky Starks versus Ray Phoenix is the matchup, which should be a really interesting one. I feel like this will be either really good or pretty bad. I'm hoping maybe, you know, 50s, maybe even a 60. Let's have a look. 58. Awesome. Okay, so, oh no. The crowd don't want to see Ricky Starks. Oh no. 58 rated match, but the crowd are shitting on Ricky Starks, which is not good. Ricky Starks 31. Ray Phoenix, oh my goodness, 68. Ricky Starks got a paw for his gimmick. Not a good debut for Ricky Starks at all. Not good. Not a good start for him. Oh no. Gives a small penalty to charisma during matches and angles. Okay. Because his gimmick is poor, it now comes with a penalty, which is also a good feature at TEW2020, but not good for us right now. Okay, well, I don't know. We're just going to have to keep trying to hope the crowd eventually starts to like him. Yeah, they're not too fond of him. Alright, next is going to be... Unfortunately, we wanted to have Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley, but we now have to have Brian Cage on the card against someone else, and we figured the best usage of Brian Cage right now is just to have Cage squash somebody. So Brian Cage will be versing Michael Nakazawa. Yes, I know that's exciting. I know that we're all looking forward to seeing that, but hopefully a good squash match to boost up Brian Cage for us. So when he does get the chance to face Moxley, it's a good one. Let's have a look. 43. So Brian Cage performed at 57. Michael Nakazawa 31. And I still need to have Taz turn heel. Oh, I thought I would be able to do that, but maybe not yet. So Cage wins in a few minutes. Next up, Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho, which I feel like is going to be one of the matches of the night. Before we get there, Chris Jericho's trash-talking Orange Cassidy before their match. Sammy Guevara standing with him as well. 86 rated promo by the GOAT, the legend himself, Chris Jericho. Thank you very much, sir. Jericho did not do well without a script. So once again, you wouldn't think Jericho would need a script, but apparently he does. So Jericho producing the goods once again. Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. Coming into this pay-per-view, I thought this could be match of the night. So I'm hoping that it at least hits a 70. So I've given it 16 minutes, which I think should be enough time to make it reasonably well. Let's have a look. Wow, 79. And you know what? Chris Jericho did not even perform that well. Jericho 72. And Jericho has 81 pop. That is 9 below his popularity, which is not good. Orange Cassidy performed at 68. What the hell? Orange Cassidy's got 42 pop. And he performed 68. Wow. Wow. That is very impressive. Look, I'm not a fan of Orange Cassidy, but I tell you what, if he keeps hitting out 68s, I'm going to have to push that guy and keep going with him. Wow. A 79 rated match overall, which at the moment I think is better than the tag match opener. So it's currently the match of the night. And I am struggling to see Cody beating that. So yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Which will be our main event next. Cody versus Jake Hager is next. Cody cuts a promo beforehand of 70 rated, which is good. It gained a bit of heat for the storyline, thank goodness. So Jake Hager versus Cody is the main event for the TNT title. Pretty good main event nonetheless. It's not the worst main event in the world. Look, at this stage, I'll take 70 plus. Anything over 70, I'll be happy. Because we've had a pretty good show. I don't think at the moment this is going to beat the Jericho match. So, Cody versus Jake Hager. Can we hit 70? we hit 72. Okay, well, that's what we asked for. 72. 20-minute match. We had Santana try and get himself involved. In a circle all ringside trying to help Jake Hager, but it wasn't enough. Cody was able to overcome it. Cody performed at 81, which is awesome. Jake Hager, 59, which is pretty good considering where he's at. And a 72 overall main event. Cody's still the champ, and that is the pay-per-view done. The overall rating, I think we're going to get a 75. I'm feeling 75. Let's have a look. It is 74. Close. Close. But that's good. That's good. So, I'm happy with that. So, we had a 72 main event, a 79 Jericho Cassidy match, a 77 tag match with Omega and Page versus Best Friends as the three highlights of the show. Might have been stronger if we had Cage and Moxley. I feel like they would have hit 70 something, but from what we're at right now, the fact we lost our original main event, that's not a bad recovery. A 74 show is easily our best show so far. I'll take that. I'm going to give Orange Cassidy some praise. I think he was really good. And Kenny Omega was the star of the show, so he was great. And Cody obviously carried the main event, so I'll give him some praise as well. So make those three pretty happy. So that's the show in the books. Done. Not bad.